Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. My most favorite tree in the entire world is a cotton tree or a Kapok tree or Kapok tree that's growing in Freetown, Sierra Leone in Africa. It's a giant tree, it's over 400 years old, and it really inspired me to try growing my own as bonsai. So 8 years ago I ordered seeds online for the Cieba pentandra tree, and I germinated them and they were growing really nicely, and then they died from the cold. The Kapok tree can't take cooler temperatures. I try and keep the trees above 15 degrees Celsius if possible, and they seem to do really well at those temperatures. So all my original trees that I grew from seeds died, but I'd given away a lot of cuttings to another YouTuber, Bonsai Jay, and he had several of them growing still, so he gave me back one. So here it is today, and it grew really well. I grew, it was reaching the top of the greenhouse here, and I did a severe chop on it, and it's regrown branches, and it's ready to grow for another season. The unfortunate thing about the giant cotton tree in Sierra Leone is that about this time last year, a storm went through the town and the tree came down in the storm. It shattered the trunk. There was a lot of hollow bits in the trunk and it just collapsed. And I was very sad to hear the news. I'll show you some pictures and video of that tree. So 1 year later, the tree is still alive and growing. I don't know what they're going to do, if they're eventually going to replace the tree with a new one, or if they're going to continue trying to grow the tree from the remains after the storm. So I'll keep my eyes open for news on the tree in the future. I repotted my Kapok tree in the winter, and I did quite a severe root pruning on it. And the tree's recovered, and now it's starting to grow once again. So that's kind of exciting. And I expect it to grow quite well over the summer. It's in good soil. It's a nice large pot. It should really shoot up. So I'm going to try and keep it pruned fairly compact, trying to create a branch structure on it. So we'll see how it goes. All the cuttings that I planted seem to have survived quite nicely on the tree. So these are my backups. I'm hoping to develop this into quite a large bonsai and try and replicate that cotton tree from Sierra Leone. I'm hoping to grow my Kapok tree to about the size of my European buckthorn here. I think it's a good size for the tree. I'll get a large buttressed root base and a thick trunk and a canopy on top. So it'll be exciting watching it develop over the years. When I repotted the tree in December, it was growing in a kind of a small round pot, and I did the root pruning, getting a nice radial root base, and it's in a larger pot now, and it's a fairly deep pot, so I think the tree's going to grow really well this summer. And I'll just gradually, work on the roots and pot it up as the tree gets larger and larger. So eventually it'll go in a fairly large pot. The tree's looking really healthy. The yellow growth is from when it was growing indoors, and it had a bit of white fly on it, but I just saw white flies fly off of it. So it's still got a little bit of white fly on it. I'll give it a spray with soap and water today. But the new growth is nice and green. So I think it's going to grow quite well this summer. I'm hoping. This is my favorite tree. It's not the greatest tree for bonsai, but I think I can make it into something quite nice. I'm ready to spray the tree, hoping to get rid of that white fly. So I just use the liquid dish soap, the kind for hand washing dishes. I add a few squirts in the bottom and fill the rest with water. So 40 parts water to 1 part liquid dish soap seems to do the trick. So here I go. I'm going to spray underneath the leaves first. Like that, and then I'll spray from above. So I'll let that sit for a few minutes, and then I'll give the tree a rinse. All right, here I go, rinsing the tree off now. Okay, so that should do it. I haven't had any insect problems on this tree. Only whitefly is the only one I've had on it. And once you get it outside in the summer, I don't see any whitefly on it. It seems to disappear. There must be natural predators that take care of it. I've had a lot of tough lessons over the last 8 years growing my Kapok bonsai, but this is my last hope, my last cutting, and I think I've got it figured out now, keeping it warm around 15 degrees Celsius in the winter, keep it in good light, and it should do quite well. So I'm hoping, to develop this tree into a beautiful bonsai someday. This tree is a very young tree, and eventually it'll get thorns all over the trunk and the branches. And then as the tree matures even more, the thorns will fall off and it'll go to this kind of smooth gray bark on it. I have another tree, a Silk Floss tree, that has the thorns on the trunk, so let's have a look at that. Here is a look at my Silk Floss trees. So you can see the thorns on it. And this tree is getting more mature and a lot of the thorns have come off, and they just, as it grows, I don't know if this one will come off. No, that one's solid. As it grows thicker, these thorns do fall off, and you can see it's getting that smooth bark. So this species, the Silk Floss tree, can take lower temperatures than the Cieba pentandra. I've had this down, close to freezing, and it survives just fine. So this tree was in the plant room over the winter, and it's just starting to grow now. New growth for the summer, and these really grow fast also. Both species are fast growing. So you can see I did a big chop on it here. It died back a little, even though I sealed the top with the rubber cement. But it's got lots of branches that came out that I can develop into the future. These ones are a little harder to grow from cuttings. I've tried several times growing another one from a cutting, and it survives for quite a while, but it never really took off. So they always died back over the winter and never came back in spring. So this is another tree that's very interesting, and I'm looking forward to developing this tree also into a nice bonsai. Both of these trees flower. This one gets, I think they're like pinkish purple flowers on it, and my Kapok tree, that gets the white flowers on it. Today's video was more of an update to my Cieba trees and to my most favorite tree in the whole world. I hope it recovers and becomes a fantastic tree in the future, the one in Freetown. But I guess time will tell. So that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.